Your son's silence isn't peace. It might be distance, which isn't good. I don't care whatever age he is. If you don't know who his friends are, think about it. If you don't know what he's watching, and if you don't know what he's hiding online, this episode right here is your wake-up call.
The problem is you're being too nice. Girls want a man who takes charge, who shows high value.
This is exactly what I was talking about.
Have you watched the Netflix series Adolescence? I've talked about it in other podcasts, but today on this podcast, we are going to talk about it. We're not going to review it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk. I asked my brother Speak Rock to watch it. He watched it. So now we're going to talk about it. And after this, I hope you parents, not just dads, moms, watch this too. So, Speak Rock, how you doing? How you doing? Glad to have you back on the podcast.
Hey, my brother. Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. And as always, thank you for allowing me to be on your platform, man, to have great conversation. It just seems as if that, every time we link up, we're talking about things that truly matter and that are relevant to people like us. So again, I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. I've seen other podcasts. Well, just one, the Dad's Edge podcast. I didn't really listen to the whole podcast, not because I don't like the podcast. It's just kind of like, just like they say, like when you make music, you don't want to listen to other people's music too much because, you'll do something like them. So I didn't listen to it. So we're going to do our own thing. And we're gonna go. It's 4 parts, so we're gonna go episode by episode. We're not gonna spoil it for you. We're not gonna spoil it for you because you need to watch it. Even though we talk about it, us just talking about it, it's not gonna do it justice. You got to put your own eyes on it. You, as a parent, you need to study this thing yourself. So we're gonna start with the first episode. I'm gonna start with the first episode. First episode is the episode when the son is arrested. He's arrested for a crime. He's arrested for a crime. That crime is murder. So the police, they get the search warrant, they come into the house and they arrest the son. Now, any parent not knowing what's going on, I don't know, morning time, before you even brush your teeth, the police kicking in your door, the parents think it's a mistake. They think you're in the wrong house, it's a mistake. And then they say, we're here for your son. You really think like, wait, whoa, this is really a mistake. So when you first was start watching and Speak Rock, like, what was going through your mind? Like,
first thing that came across my mind was, now this TV show, this series is not aired from the westernized viewpoint,
right?
Meaning it's not happening in America.
That's a good point.
These are, this family, the people involved, the police force, the legal system, all of that. It is not happening in America. I want to say it's happening in Great Britain somewhere. That's what I want to say. All right. Yeah. So, but the first thing that came to my mind was the veil is being lifted. Now, What do I mean by the veil is being lifted? Now, you and I, being of, African-American, descent, and we could probably swap stories about, hey, police kicking in the door. They coming after Junebug. They coming after Darnell. They coming after Antoine. Like, hey, they came after my cousin last week. Like, we can swap stories about our homeboy on the block who got their door kicked in. But it's interesting in this day and time in 2025, you see a Caucasian family getting their door kicked in.
Right.
I feel like the veil is being lifted because history is showing us that crime has no color barrier. But for the longest time, a lot of things was just put behind the veil. Certain races and certain demographics was swept up under the rug.
Right.
Certain actions you would dare not speak on, like, oh, that race of people couldn't do this. That's not in their nature. That's not what they do. But lo and behold, you on any given day on the nightly news, you got a black family being exposed, being highlighted, being shown in, as the young people say now, in 4K, doing what we, getting our doors kicked in.
Yep.
But in this era that we're living in, we're seeing that, whoa, hold up. It's other races of people that's out here experiencing what we're experiencing. And may I dare say, they possibly could be experiencing it more.
Yeah. Yeah. It could be, they could, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. And that's why I'm so glad that I have someone else like yourself on here speaking about this, because everybody sees things differently. Everybody notices things differently. I actually watched it twice. I watched it before a couple months ago, and then I watched it again. And when I watched it again, I seen things that I didn't notice the first time. That I didn't notice the first time. So it was good for me. That's a very good point. And before we get too far into this, I want to say this to parents.
Okay.
Black, white fathers, each other, we're not your problem anymore. Your main problem, your main issue, and the thing you need to be worried about is your son. That's what you need. You don't need to be worried about Jerome over there, white dad. Don't use him as an excuse. Your son that's down the hall that you don't talk to, that you come home and you just go sit on the couch and watch TV, that you ignore, that's who you better be worried about. That's who you better be concerned with. And for the black father, your son that you might not have enough time for, that you work around the clock, and you think that's what taking care of him is. You better not do that. You better watch this. You better watch all 4 of these episodes, because you don't want to be in this father's shoes. So, done with that. So, they arrest him. The detectives come in. If the police come in your house with a search warrant, for all the people who don't know, they're going to tear it up. They're going to tear your house up. They're not there to make sure everything is put back nice and neatly, and they don't give a damn. They're going to kick in your door. They're going to tear stuff. They're going to tear your house up. So that's what they do. Tear the house up, go in the parents' bedroom, sisters crying on the bathroom floor. They don't care. They're there because they got business there, and that's what they're there for. So they arrest the boy. I think he's 13, I believe. I think that's how I think he's 13.
Yeah.
I don't know if they said his age for
I'm not sure if he's in like his last years of junior high or he's a freshman in high school.
Right. So
one of the ways he has a sister and he's younger than the sister. And if I'm not mistaken, his sister is in college.
She's on her way to college. She's on her way to college. So
yeah.
He's a teen. He's an early teen. He's early. That's another red flag, and another thing you need to be worried. This is not even a teen. This is not even a high school boy who's been charged with murder.
Now check this out. If you remember, and I know you do, but one of the things that struck me is when the SWAT team kicked in the door, they controlled the scene, textbook. There was no dirty play at hand. They detained everybody in the most proper way. And they went forward to apprehend the son. The father was so perplexed. The father, because in that father's mind, and the father kept repeating it, like, this is a good boy. Like, this is a good, smart kid. Like, this is my kid. So what struck me at that moment is, how many of us, and I can only speak loosely, I know when my children did something and somebody was like, yeah, your child did this. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, what? Not my child. So the actor who played the dad, he played it to the T. Because if you love your child and you raise your child, you would believe, like, nah, not my son. I know my son's got, like, this couldn't have been, like, whatever y'all here for, my son couldn't have did. So he played that part to the T.
Yeah, I agree. He kept saying, like you said, it's a mistake. This is a mistake. This is not my son. This is a mistake. You guys are at the wrong house. This is a mistake. But the police are like, no, this is no mistake. We know who we want, and it's your son. So they put him in what, like Speak Rock said, this is not in America. This is not in America. So they detain him, put him in the car, take him to the police station. Like you said, I mean, there's no funny business going on. They treated this boy the nicest any murderer could ever be treated. You know what I mean? Like so if this is how when you get arrested in, overseas somewhere, if this is how it goes, hey, they like Speak Rock said, there was no funny business. They handle business. And of course, they tell the parents, this is where we're going. You can come. We need you to follow us so we can, we can brief you and tell you what's more going on at the station. At the station. They get them down to the station. And we gonna step it up. Here's when it kind of goes. When they ask the son, they tell him, look, do you have a lawyer? They call him something else there. I forgot what they don't call them lawyers, but what's equivalent to a lawyer? They ask him, he's like, no, we don't have one. If you don't have one, we'll get you one.
Yeah,
and
maybe
then they
a
ask
counselor,
him,
maybe.
yeah, something, yeah. And then they ask him, you have to have a parent in the room with you. Who do you want? And he immediately says, who, Speak Rock?
His dad.
Without hesitation.
Yup.
Without hesitation. I want my dad in. Now that right there, as we go through episode 1, 2, 3, 4, is very telling. Is very telling because I can empathize or I can sympathize. You probably a lot of kids would say their dad, but it's real. It's real telling as it goes on the relationship that the father and son had. And one thing when I watched it again, the lead detective, he was like, kind of, did you notice the father-son relationship? And he was like, do you think the father is doing something to the son? I was like, but he's like, nah. He's like, nah. He's like, I don't, he's like, I had another case like this and it was something like that. But then, I think his partner was like, no, I don't see that. She was like, I don't see that. But one of the most, I don't know how to put it, but one of the most alarming things to me is when they get into the interrogation room and before they start, Speak Rock, he says, did you do this? Did you do this? Because I'm like, man, I would have did the same thing.
Bro, you talking about the dad asking.
Yeah, I'm talking about the dad. It's just them two in there. And he's like, did you do this? Tell me right now, did you do this? And what did his son say, Speak Rock?
Said no, didn't do a thing.
What did you, at that moment, what did you think? At that moment, what did you think? Were you like me and thought, man, maybe he didn't do it. Or maybe he didn't do it. Maybe, maybe he's he had a part of it. He's getting blamed for something he didn't do. I don't know. We just started watching this thing. He looked his father in the face.
Yeah, absolutely.
He looked his father in the face. Then his father's damn near begging and told him, no, I didn't do it. So when you saw that, what went through your mind as a dad?
Well, I'll say as a dad and as just a human being.
Right.
I'm the kind of person I like to look at the totality of my life. I like to put myself in whoever else position. So say the dad, I put myself in the dad's position and I put myself in the son's position. First, let me back up and start with the dad. Because we already discussed that the dad was in a situation of I don't want to say denial, but just disbelief. Mm-hmm. The dad's in disbelief because he's like, look, this is my son. I'm aware of my son and he's a good kid. Whatever you think he did, he didn't do. So the dad was standing on that. Hey, look, let's just basically, look, police, let's talk this out and I'm sure it'll be all right. So one thing as a father, one thing I've always did or that I always do, I'm always going to have my child back and believe. I'm going to believe the best. But the reality of life is I'm up for anything is up because the fact of the matter is when your child is not in your presence,
yes, sir,
anything is up for grabs. The only thing you can expect for your child to do when they're not in your presence is that they remember that you're the small, still voice that whispers to them before they make decisions. But the truth of the matter is, as any kind of parent or as a father, you have to be like, I hope my voice comes back to their memory. But because if that voice doesn't, there's a high probability that you're possibly going to make the wrong decisions that's going to put you in a compromised position. So if I was the dad, I know I would be like, you know what? I believe you, son, but we got to see this thing through because I wasn't there. I don't know what they're accusing you of. Like, we got to see it through. But guess what? I'm here with you all the way. That's just how I roll as a parent. And the last thing I'll say, if I put myself in the kid position, the son, look, man, look, I'm being honest about my life. I know what the things I did as a kid, and I denied it to the end. I didn't do it. Like, I denied it to the end because, man, I was like, bro, if y'all ain't got concrete evidence or proof, why am I gonna sit here and tell on myself? So, truth be told, that's the really reality for a lot of young people. I'm talking about from toddlers, children, teenagers. They will deny to the end until they're cornered. So when I saw what the father and son's interaction was, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised. For him to deny it, I wasn't surprised at all. Why would he tell him?
Me either. Me either. Fathers, you have to kind of rise above situations sometimes. You're not just a father, you gotta kind of be like almost their lawyer sometimes. You can't just be emotional about this. You gotta know your son. Okay, I asked you, did you do it? Do I really think you're gonna tell me the first time I asked you, you're gonna say, yeah, I did it? Come on now. Do you really think he's gonna tell you the first time he gets asked, did he do something that's going to get him seriously in trouble? He's gonna say, yeah, Dad, I did it. Maybe some son,
Yeah, maybe.
maybe some son, but 95% of them, no. Over half, no. They're gonna say no, I didn't do it, because they don't want to get in trouble. They just like Speak Rock said, I'm gonna deny it to the end, because I kind of got an idea what's gonna happen, and I don't want it. So this is a message to fathers. You got to be like, look, we sitting in the goddamn interrogation room, and they talking about serious charges. Don't you look me in the face and tell me you didn't do something. Or you as a father, don't you hear that and think you want to handle that kind of stuff before you get to the interrogation room. You want to handle that before you get to the interrogation room, because once they're in the interrogation room, the lawyer tells them, don't answer any questions about what happened last night or that night. Just say no comment. I don't have, so the kid thinks, oh, I can just say, no comment, to a lot of stuff. And then, the detective's like, hey, okay, I see this is where this is going. We got a video here. We got a video of you and the girl. You guys were out, went somewhere to amusement park or something like that, somewhere, together. And here's a video of you and her. Basically, they have the crime on video. Him attacking this young lady with a knife on video. The father sees it. He sees his son stab a girl 7 times when he just asked him minutes ago, is this you? Did you do this? But right before that, it was a line of questioning that the lawyer told the father, no, we don't want to do this right now. The father told the lawyer basically to be quiet. It's okay. He can ask him this stuff. That's what opened up the door so he can show him the video. That's a very good point. That's a very good thing to talk about right there, is that fathers, you are not lawyers. If you are a lawyer, that's one thing, but you're not a lawyer. When that lawyer told him to be quiet, you should have been quiet. But as fathers, a lot of times we're trying to do too much. We're trying to control the situation. Situation's out of control.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this. So again, law enforcement, after they discussed it, they end up showing the father and the son the video footage that they had. Let's just say it wasn't pretty.
Right.
My question to you, did you find yourself in the father's shoes? Could you feel what the father was going through when he saw the footage on the video? And what was your first thought as being a father? If you was that father and you saw what your son had did, could you Did you feel the father? Could you see yourself in his position? Like, how would you have felt?
Man, I definitely felt the father at that point because I said it, you know, I would have asked my son, did he do this thing too? You know what I mean? I think we all would have, you know, we got that moment. It's just us two. Okay, what do you know about this? Did you do this? Did you have anything to do with this? No, Dad. No. I mean, okay, cool. And then they pull up the video, they pull up the computer, open the laptop up, hit the video, and it's you. It's you by yourself. Nobody else is with you. This is you doing this. Man, I would have been so hurt. I would have been so hurt. And at that point in the show, everybody else kind of gets up and leaves. They're like, the cops get up and leave. They're like, we don't need to say anything else. I think they asked him, you know, where's the knife or whatever. Then the lawyer's like, that's it. And it's just them two in the room, and the dad starts crying. Both of them start crying. And the son kind of wants the dad to like embrace him, or, you know, he wants the father to be there for him. But the father like, man, I need somebody here for me right now. You know, he's like, Dad don't got it right now. That's the point. That's what look, unless you a psychopath or something, you probably gonna drop some tears right there. Speak Rock said it. The father did an amazing job in this series, and the son. This little boy did a hell of a job, but the father did an amazing job. That's why I guess he won an Emmy. That's why he won an award for this, because that part right there, you asked me how I felt, man, if you have a son, right then, all of it, if you have children, right then, all of it, right, it clicks. Something clicks for you and asks you, because like you said, what would you do right here? What would you do? What could you do? So how I felt almost hopeless like him.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. Let's keep it real. I felt hopeless. So that's basically episode 1. That's basically episode 1. So they got him. They got your son. So now we're going to speed it up. We're going to go to episode 2. Episode 2 was eye-opening because they go to the school now. They go to the school where the young man went to school at, and they trying to find out what the other kids know. And the lead detective, his son goes to this school. The lead detective brother, his son goes to this school. I guess kind of like a private school. Would you say, Speed Rock? You know, they got the. I don't know if everybody just like that. Every school's like that over there. I don't know.
That's what I was gonna say.
Kind of like a private school in America. Maybe over there, everybody has to wear, you know, the suit coats and stuff like that and dress like that. So maybe that's where we got it from in America. So they go to the school and they go to a classroom, and it's chaos in there. Teacher ain't even in there.
Chaos.
Ain't even in there. He ain't even in there. They just clowning in the classroom. And, you know, I guess they go to talk to the kids, and not much. I mean, come on, it's kids. They not really gonna tell you nothing in front of no. I mean, I don't know what they thought somebody was gonna raise their hand and give them, you know, they're not gonna tell you nothing. But the one thing that really, once I watched it over again, the teacher wasn't even in there, and then he came in there like he was in the bathroom. He might have been in the bathroom. It was like, and then he's fumbling around, and then so the cops, the detectives, like, we're not getting any information here. I think a fire drill. They go to another classroom before they can even start. A fire drill goes off, and they catch that one teacher outside, and he asks, like, you know, the lead detective asks, like, did you know? I think the boy's name is Jeremy. Did you know anything about either one, Jeremy, the friend, or the friends? And all this teacher said was, these kids are horrible. What do you expect me to do? Like, he don't even have. That's his answer. That the kids are horrible. What do you expect me to do? And I was like, man, this is where you send your kids. This is where, and this is equivalent to a junior high. This isn't even high school. This is like a junior high, maybe. And the teacher just, he's overwhelmed. This is a male teacher. He says, these kids are horrible. These kids are, what do you expect me to do? And the detective just looking at him like, what? Like, what? And the dude just walks off. When you seen that part, because it's moving so fast. The show's moving so fast. When you remember that part of this episode too, what's going through your mind? Like when you seeing that they're going into schools, that like I'm like thinking to myself, how do y'all think y'all gonna get any information from these kids?
Well, the first thing I thought about was just the realism of the situation. Because you hit the nail on the head when you said, hey, look, it's a classroom full of adolescent kids. It is just chaos. Kids do what kids do. Well, how the old adage goes, when the cat's away, the mice will play. Like they just in there wilding out, right? So to see the interaction with the adults, with the police officer and the so-called educator, man, like it was so based in reality, because society in and of itself is like organized chaos almost. Now, again, it used to be, and I have felt like the veil is being just ripped away. All the veneers and the masking is being ripped away. Because people used to talk like, hey, look, I'm going out to the suburbs because I'm sending my kid to this school, or we're going to a private school, or we're going to do this, that, and the third. Or I got one better for you. I'm just going to keep it a buck. A lot of people feel, hey, I'm going to say it like this. We feel white ice is colder.
Yeah.
If I send my kids, may not be a private school, may not be a school in the suburbs, but if I send them to a school that got predominantly white children that go to it, the school obviously got to be better.
Yeah.
Now, and I get what they probably saying. They probably got better funding, probably got better resources. I get that. But what the part that they're missing out is, you can't, just by their complexion, you can't say those children are going to act better just because they're of a certain skin type.
Right.
That it makes no sense whatsoever. And by me and you, we saw this 4-part series. The predominant skin color in that classroom was what?
White.
Yeah. And they were still out of control. Why?
Out of
Because
control.
they're young, because they're of a certain understanding. So all I'm saying is, okay, how can I put it? I wasn't appalled when I heard the educator say what the educator said. Because I've been around quite a few educators. I've been in quite a few school systems myself, and I hear how they talk. I hear what they say about our children, our young people. So my point is, going back to how you brought us into this conversation, you got to keep an eye on your child, man. You have to continuously stay grounded and rooted and engaged with your child. Because here's the fact of the matter. When your child's not learning from you, they learning from something else. They learning from the classroom. They learning from the kids on a block. They learning from the streets. They learning from television. They learning from movies. They are soaking up everything around them. You're not the only person they're listening to. And because of that fact, as a father, you have to be, I know people would disagree with me on this, but I go down swinging on this one. You have to be hyper vigilant, hyperactive in this day and age. This ain't Leave It to Beaver no more. This ain't Happy Days where you can just say something and it's all gonna work out and it's gonna be good. No. This is a situation where, you said it once, you said it twice. I hope you ate your Wheaties and you took your vitamins, because you're gonna have to say it a 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th time, because you know why? The moment you give up teaching your child, the streets are always waiting.
They always wait. And I wanna kind of speed it up, and because here's another thing that I see when I watched it the second time. Yes, this thing is about the son, Jeremy. He committed a murder. But if you have a daughter, you better keep your ears on. You better keep your ears on right now, because this would have never happened if this little girl wouldn't have been playing with this boy's head, emasculating him, telling him that no one would ever like him. No one would ever like him. No one would ever be with you. Even though people are basically like, she's like, even though there was a photo or something that she sent to, I guess, a boy that she liked, a nude photo. We're talking about kids now. She sent a nude photo to another boy, and what did he do? What do you think he did? He wouldn't show it all his friends. So everybody's going around school talking about her. And this little boy, Jeremy, he says he didn't really like her, but he did. And he saw it and he thought, well, maybe because she's feeling bad, this will be the perfect opportunity for me to show her that I like her, that I like her. Even though that didn't even matter to this little girl. There was no way she was going to be with Jeremy. And that right there was not the way to handle the situation. If you have a daughter, you also have to teach her how to treat men, how to act around men. But if you're not there, whether you there and you're not there, or if you just not there at all, she's not going to learn it. She's not going to learn it. She's not going to learn it. If this young lady did not feel the same way Jeremy felt about her, she should have let him know that a long time ago and not been playing with his mind and then basically, like the detective said, bullying him. Now, for what he did, was it right? Hell no. It wasn't right. It wasn't the way to handle it, but she had a part in it. And it's a part where her little friend is so upset with the boys that Jeremy and his other little friends, they were outside, and she comes up to the other boy and assaults him, knocks him out. Start beating his, this little black girl, this boy just knocks him out. Bam. And whooping his butt. Because she knows he has this other boy, he has something to do with. He has something to do with her friend being killed. But what did you do right there, young lady? You just emasculated him in front of his whole school. They even said it after she knocked him out. Man, you just got knocked out by a girl. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. You can't do that because things like this can happen. And that same little boy that she knew had something to do with it, he ended up admitting, yeah, it was my knife. I gave it to Jeremy. I just wanted him to scare. Now, me and you both know, Speak Rock, if you give your friend a gun and he goes out and kills somebody,
you're an automatic accessory. Yeah.
So
I totally agree with you that there's a lot of life lessons that need to be taught. And again, this series is aptly named, Adolescents.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at who we talking about here.
It's all kind of stuff going on everywhere.
We're talking about young people, hormones are out of control, frontal lobe not fully developed, maturity is at an all-time low.
Did you hear this one part? I never would have heard this unless I watched it again. When the little black girl, after she beat the boy up in the schoolyard, the one teacher who you could tell she really cared about him, she was like, "Why did you come to school today?" You know what I'm saying? Like, she said her mother does not want her in the house when she ain't there. Her mama don't want her she said in her house when she ain't there. Do that sound like you, mother, father out there? Are you saying mess like that? Why? Why you don't want her in the house when you ain't there? She doing stuff she shouldn't be doing? But for you for a parent to say that. So this girl like, I don't have nowhere else to go. I'm angry. I don't want to be here, but I can't even be at home. She said the only person that cared about me, they killed her. She said the only person, her friend, not her mama, not her daddy, not one of them, she has siblings. She said the only person. And I would have never picked that up unless I watched it again. So just like Speak Rock said, it's all kind of adolescent stuff going on in here. Because, yeah, that little girl going through a thing too. She going down a dark road her damn self. So yeah, I'll kick it back to you, Speak Rock. But I had to say that because that really kind of hit me too. Like, damn, was she a dog? Like what? Like she can't even be in the house when you ain't there?
Well, I mean, like I said, it's open for our imaginations to only guess what is going on in that household. And
right.
A lot of us, man, look, I will say this. Episode 2, really, the reality of it all. Episode 2 let me know how it call it life imitating art or art imitating life. Probably life art imitating life, right? Everybody family dynamic and household. Every adult wasn't taught the right way. Every adult wasn't raised in the proper manner. giving proper
Right.
education, giving wisdom and knowledge. And I would say it like this, and I don't mean this in a defeatist way, because I've known parents, elders to me, elders to you. I've known parents who did all they could do. I mean, really bless their kids and try their best to live right, to bring their child up right. Child still went off and just did some other kind of stuff, man. I know some parents who was just totally out of pocket with their teachings, but guess what? They child just kind of made it through life and either didn't get caught, or I don't know, they finessed their way through life. The science of this, of raising a child and the type of parent you should be, I'm just going, episode 2 just showed me how difficult all of it is. I don't think a lot of people have the proper ingredients and the proper science to say, this is what I did and it all turned out right with my child or my multiple children. Okay, well, great for you. The funny thing is, I'm not you. I don't live where you live. I ain't gonna lie, episode 2 made my head hurt. Episode 1 seemed like it should have stressed people out, but episode 2 going on.
That's
like
a very good. That's a very good.
Girls fighting boys being hypersensitive. You that hypersensitive where you gotta murder somebody? I had a problem with that in and of itself. I was like, never in my wildest dreams. I've been rejected many a times. I've been teased by girls. I ain't never thought about killing her.
Right. Like, like that,
too.
Yeah, like whoa, that was really. But I'm gonna kind of put episode 3 and 4 kind of together because they do kind of run together.
Let's get off of episode 2 because episode 2 stress you out.
Episode 2, like Speak Rock said, it's gonna hurt your head, but it's very good. It's very good, and you need to watch it. Now, episode 3 to me was the best episode. And when I say this young man who played Jeremy, he really did his thing. He really did his thing. This kid can act. So episode 3, his team, his lawyer, they have different therapists and psychiatrists to come see him. So he has this one lady come see him, and she's a very nice lady. She goes, gets him hot chocolate, puts marshmallows in it. She made him a sandwich. She's asking him questions. But Jeremy is very smart, manipulative. He doesn't believe anything anyone's really. He doesn't believe anybody really cares about him. Maybe besides his father. Mm-hmm. But anybody else he don't think, because I'm not going to go through it all, but he doesn't like himself. At the end of it all, this little boy doesn't like himself. He thinks he's ugly because that's what he was told. He thinks he's ugly. And when you're 13, 14 years old, that means a lot. That the girls don't like you. They think you're ugly. He described his one friend that gave him a knife. He was like, yeah, he is stupid. So you got the ugly boy, the stupid boy, and then the one boy that he got teased because his parents shopped somewhere, and people teased them because of that. So they hung out as a threesome. These 3 little boys hung out as a threesome. But Jeremy really doesn't like himself. And he also is very angry. And he has a temper. And what I don't get is how you didn't see this. But I think they did see it, but they didn't want to see it. You know what I mean?
Right.
This boy is extremely angry. And once you see this episode 3, you can see why and how he could kill somebody. But he doesn't think what he did was wrong. He doesn't really think what he did was wrong because he feels like she provoked him to do it. She provoked him to kill her. If she wouldn't have done this stuff, he wouldn't have killed her. That's like Speak Rock said, hey man, you're going to get teased. People going to call you ugly. People going to talk about you. Who does that not happen to? It happens to everybody. But for you to take a knife and stab someone 7 times, you can't blame that on somebody else. That's what the therapist was trying to get him to say. She was trying to get him to understand. She was trying to see if he knew what he did. And at the end of that, It was her. She had to go back and tell the judge. And I don't think what she told the judge was going to favor him. And and the most alarming part, and then I'm gonna give it to you, Speak Rock, is the fact that he kept asking her at the end, do you like me? Do you like me? That's what mattered most to him. When she said, this is it, I'm not gonna see you anymore, but you really need to get some help. He didn't care. No, do you like me? Tell the judge that you like me. I'm like, what? How could you not see this as parents? Man, this episode 3 is one that if you don't do nothing else, because I wouldn't let Carter watch this whole thing. It's a lot, it's a bit much. But this episode 3 gets a little raunchy, but I don't know. This one might be one that people might try to give you some flack about letting your son watch this, but you really need to see how important it is for you to check in with your son and see where his head is at. You really do. You have to. So what 3?
Well, let me ask you this. Did they bring up, I thought they mentioned the name. It was either late episode 2 or in episode 3 where they brought up the name of the he was, matter of fact, I think he's been canceled or whatever, a podcaster. They call it like a red pill type podcast.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
he's like,
was it Andrew Tate? Did they say something about was it him?
Yeah, Andrew Tate. Hyper-masculinity, you know.
But Jeremy said, but he said he looked at that kind of stuff, and so he said he didn't really like it. That's what he said to the lady.
But it's hard to believe what Jeremy is saying during that episode, because as you said, he went from scared child episode 1 to, by the time you see him in episode 3, he's articulating, verbalizing, being inquisitive, but yet being demanding, you know. So it was like it bordered on, okay, there's a psychological aspect to this now. Like there's a behavioral health aspect to this. This just isn't a wayward child that did the most egregious thing. This is possibly psychotic. And I'm like, whoa.
He didn't have any
like red flags or alerts, or
he didn't have any sympathy. He didn't have any remorse for what he did. He didn't have any remorse. All he kept saying is, I didn't do it. I didn't do this. I didn't do it. But then he did admit to doing it. That's when she kind of stopped it. That's when she ended it. He admitted to do it.
He aggressed her.
Yeah.
That was episode 3, right? He aggressed her like
twice
in a threatening manner. So he's every bit of what? 5 foot, maybe 5'3", 5'2",
100 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah, she's probably, I don't know, 5'9". I mean, she's a grown woman. He approached her in a most aggressive manner, like he gonna do something to her, and she was shaking.
Yeah, so she was scared.
Yeah,
she was scared.
For me, again, I gotta keep going back to this, and this isn't making any excuses or any concessions for our children, but I'm just trying to put us on alert and on notice as parents. Throughout your child's whole childhood, that's from birth. I mean, they say, hey, you're grown once you graduate high school and you're 18, right? I get it. Long as they're in your house, in teenage years, right? It doesn't stop. The work you got to do as a parent never stops. As far as I'm concerned, is never on autopilot. And if you do use some type of autopilot type of thing, that's all predicated on the kid, because every child is different. So this situation with this young man, my God, man, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna say it like this, because I've seen this in parents, but I keep my mouth shut because I ain't in your household. I don't say nothing. You know, I'm not gonna be disrespectful. I mean, I wouldn't want nobody leaning too much in my house, so I don't lean too much in anybody else's house. Well, I will say this. I've sat back in my own quiet corner and I've looked at people and I was like, boy, you giving too much liberty. You giving too much freedom. Like, it always makes me cringe when somebody speaks about their child in a manner as if they're an adult. I'm like, no, that's still a kid. That child still doesn't. If me and this child, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be 1,000,000,000% honest. In a controlled environment, I don't mind talking to people's children. If it's, and what I mean by controlled environment, if I'm sitting here, if it's me, you, and your son, I'm cool with it. Cause you know why? His headship is there. You are there.
Right.
And I know you gonna let your son he's gonna be the young man, and he's gonna be how you're raising him to be. But if he get out of pocket in any way, I know you got that covered. I ain't got to worry about, as the elder, trying, say something. I ain't caught up in that. That's why I don't like just being alone with anybody's kid and having a conversation. Because I know their conversation is limited. No matter how intelligent they are, no matter how smart they are, they're still a kid.
Yeah.
And they gonna say childlike stuff. They're not adults. And I think, in my opinion, I think this young man, he fell a little bit into that. Good kid. He seemed decent, but unchecked, he was left to his own devices. Yeah. And he did
too much.
Too much.
Yeah.
I probably pissed the people off on that one, but I'm just telling my truth.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta agree with you on that. So the fourth and final episode is where the father, it's his birthday. It's his 50th birthday, and he's feeling good. It's like 13 months later. Son still is incarcerated. Hasn't went to jail yet. Hasn't went on trial yet, I believe. And all of a sudden, his daughter comes to him like, "Hey, Dad, did you see the van? Somebody wrote something on the van, something negative on the van about his son or their family, and it just threw his whole day off. It just messed his whole day up. He was having a good day. He was flirting with his wife. He was, everything. And then his day just went all to hell. And so he tries to, make a day out of it. They say, we're going to go to the hardware store and get some paint. And, we're going to fix the van. We ain't going to let this mess up our day. So they all go in the hardware store. He tells his wife, okay, go buy something, then, whatever. And I'm going to go get this paint. And then one of the salesmen sees who he is. And he's a groupie. He's like a true crime groupie or something. And he starts talking to him and telling him, your son is not guilty and he should do this and he should do that. Like, the father just seems like he just wants it kind of all to go away, at least for today. But the stuff on the van, this true crime groupie that's bugging him and telling him what he should do with his, just snap. He gets out of his good mindset, and he sees what he thinks is the people who damaged or who vandalized his van, and he snaps, runs up to the boys, grabs them, tells them, "Hey man, I'll slap you," throws them on the ground, just loses it. And when I seen that right there, and that's what I believe we're trying to show, is this is where he got it from. You. And most of the time, a lot of the time, it doesn't get, when it is passed to the next generation, it don't get less, it gets more. You might have a father or son that was an alcoholic or that was a drug addict, and then that same kind of gene passes on to you, and you do it even worse. You're even worse. And that's what happened to Jeremy. When he talked about his father, he didn't really want to say that his father was, but he said his father, he tore down, and he got mad at it one time and he tore down the shed. Does that sound normal? Does that sound like something, you know what I mean? Like, that sounds like a man with anger issues. And he totally blows up. He embarrasses himself. And he puts his family in the van and he leaves. But this is where it ends at. His son calls him on his birthday. To all accounts, he's a good son to his father. He's a murderer, but he loves his father. Drew his father a birthday card, sent it to him, and he talking to his father and tell him happy birthday, what you doing today? Then he's like, I'm gonna, he's like, I know this ain't the day for this, but I'm gonna plead guilty. This 13 months after the fact. It's on your father's birthday. Him probably still thinking, I don't know what he's thinking. He's seen the video. So I don't know how he can see that I don't know what he's thinking. But when he said that to his father couldn't He didn't. He just checked out, and his mother and his sister was in the car, and they started talking to him. He's like, "Oh, I thought it was just me and Daddy on the phone." This is what I want to see. Most people probably not gonna get this far, but this is what I want to say. This boy did not talk about his mother at all. Did he speak rock? He said nothing about his mother at all. And when they asked him about something about his father, it was something like, why? He was like, he's not so judgmental. Who's judging you? Is it your mother, your sister? Who like? But he's like, he's not so judgmental. But the fact that he didn't talk about his mother at all. They had to do that on purpose. She seemed like a nice woman, but she did not talk to his mother at all. He didn't really even want to talk to them then. Really? He called to tell his father he was doing this. He didn't call and tell his mother he was doing nothing. So his father obviously hurt in his bedroom. Mother comes in there. They start talking, and he's starting to feel it now. Like, man, they're starting to feel it now. Like, were we not good parents?
That's the part that got me.
Yeah.
Whew, I was like, wow. Because they start reflecting.
Yeah. They start reflecting. Speak rock. Like, he would be in his room. She said it'd be 1 o'clock in the morning, and he would still be up. And she would tell him, you got school tomorrow, turn stuff off. And he would turn the lights off, but she would know that he still wasn't asleep. That's what you can't do. Like Speak Rock said, they might not like it, but you have to make them want you to be a part of their life. So they, like they come and tell you, "Oh, Dad, I'm looking. Hey, you ever seen this dude on YouTube? Dad, you ever seen this dude?" My son comes in my room, or I'm trying to sleep 1,000,000 times a day. I'm like, why do you even close the door? Just leave it open. You just keep coming back in it, back and forth. But you know what? I'll take that any day. I don't have no closed door policy. Unless I'm in the bathroom handling my business, that's the only time. Any other time, holler at me. Everybody wants to talk about a Speak Rock that talks about this movie, the part at the end when the father's he's crying at the end. He's crying because he's like, I didn't do a good job. All I want to say, God damn it, don't wait till that long to be crying saying you didn't do a good job. Don't wait that long to say, we know we're not doing all we can do. Can we all be honest with ourselves? When you know you're not doing as much and you're not spending as much time with your son, or you're not checked in with your kids enough, you know it. Don't act like you don't know. He knew it, but he thought getting him the computer, getting him the desk he want, doing this and that was enough. It ain't enough. So yeah, you want to talk about, people want to, because I heard like that Dad's Edge podcast, they were talking about, how touching it was when he was crying at the end. Don't be the one that's crying at the end. Don't be him. You don't gotta be him, but you will be him if you put everything else ahead of that. A lot of fathers, we do this. I need more money. I gotta work this. What you need to do is get your ass home and make sure that boy or that girl is on the right track. Because once something like this happens, all that don't matter. What you gonna use that money for? To get a lawyer? So episode 4, the end. What really? How did you feel about it?
Well, I'm feeling the same thing you said in this sense. No, you don't want to be the guy saying, coulda, shoulda, woulda. I wish I would have did that. If I only would have did. Nah, because you, as a father, you're supposed to operate with such foresight that you're like, I already know what the end could be. I already know how problematic this can get. So that's why I got to front load how I treat you, how I'm involved, how I'm educating you. And we already got to know, like if I was talking to any young father, I'm going to tell them off rip. I'm like, bruh, it's going to be a thankless job. That's number one. I don't care what people gas your head up to believe. Like, man, ain't nobody, you're never going to get your full credit for being a spot on father. Because I'm going to use your words of what you said. Because you made an excellent point. It's hard the dichotomy of being a father, a provider and a protector, right? So we're trying to figure out, or a provider, a protector, and an educator. Those 3 things. So that wouldn't be a dichotomy. But the point is, you really, as a father, have to operate on all cylinders in all of those things. You can't just say, I'm the breadwinner I make the money. I can get, so that means I can purchase all the resources. You're going to be good. If you do that, you're going to be short on them other two areas. So if you're just a protector and a disciplinarian, but you ain't bringing in that good money, and you're not teaching any wisdom or knowledge, but you spot on with that discipline though, and that protection, you're lopsided. Okay, you talk a lot, you provide a lot of wisdom and knowledge, but you ain't got no money, and you can't protect your family, and you can't discipline your children when need be, but you got a lot of information. Again, you're lopsided. This is why I said it's a thankless job, and you will never be fully appreciated. I know I'm gonna stir something up when I say this. You'll never, any man that's operating on those three pillars, breadwinner, disciplinarian, protector, and educator, bruh, you almost you're like unstoppable. And if you can get your children to buy into that and be like, man, this man right here ain't got nothing but the best for me, your chances of raising a law-abiding, good-hearted, strong-minded, well-to-do child into an adult, your chances have just increased. But guess what? Being those three things, Dad, is going to kick your butt. You're going to be tired. You're going to be weary. You're going to be low on energy. But guess what? It's all going to be worth it, because as you said, you've lessened your chances of you being that dad crying at the end, Thomas, on where did I go wrong? So instead of being that dad crying at the end, you're going to be that dad saying, I did everything I could do.
Yeah. And it's gonna pay off. You're gonna have a good kid, a son or a daughter. And man, you're right.
I don't mean it's all going to be perfect, but they're going to be resilient. They're going to make mistakes, and they're going to bounce back from those mistakes. And trust me, and they're going to look back, and they're going to be like, this is where your thanks going to come in at. It's going to come later. It's like compound interest, like you was talking about in one of your other podcasts.
Yeah.
That compound interest is going to keep building. And when your son or your daughter going to come to you, and they're going to be like, Dad, you did the damn thing.
Yeah. I seen a video, and it was Tom Brady, and he was he was answering questions, and then some kid was like, "Who's your hero, Tom?" And he was like, "Then it's a grown ass man." He was like, and he started choking up. He was like, "My dad," and he started choking up. He couldn't get it out. But like Speak Rock just said, everything his dad did, that was worth it. Well, if he seen that video, all the money that his son probably gave him, all the whatever. If I seen when his father seen that video, he was sitting on the top of the world. Because that's where you want to be. That's where you want to be. That's where you want to be, but you can't be there, just like Speak Rock said, if you're not hitting those three pillars. If you're not hitting those three things, it's going to be hard for you to be there. And I want to end it with this video right here. It's this video because it kind of highlights what we talking about.
Some parents, they have like no boundary. There's this great study out of the University of Oregon. We looked at 10,000 families, and they looked at parenting along two dimensions. Parents who were firm versus permissive, and then hostile versus loving. And if you take those two dimensions, you end up with four types of parents: permissive and hostile, permissive and firm, loving and permissive, loving. And they looked at what were the consequences or the hostile and permissive, the worst. What do you think is the second? Children need boundaries. And the loving and permissive ones had more mental health challenges than the hostile and firm. Now, that's not helpful, right? That creates anxiety. But children need boundaries. I often say God gave us parents until our friends.
And that right there, I don't want to end it right there, but is a point at the end of episode 4 when the father is talking about his father. And he said, my father used to beat me, basically. And he said, I told myself I would never do that. And he said, I didn't do that, did I? But what you did do is what that doctor said. You were loving and permissive. And that's the worst way to be. And I hear, just like Speak Rock said, I sit in a corner and I hear that all the time. I'm going to be different than my parents. I'm going to be different. I'm going to do the stuff that they didn't do. I'm going to give. I heard this one dude say, I give my kids everything they want. I said, well, where else in the world, who else going to do that? How you think that's helping them? You give, where else are they going to get everything? Somebody going to give them everything else that they want. Ain't nobody else going to do that. Ain't nobody else going to do that. And one thing that I heard Steve Harvey say, and we going to end it, man. He said, your father, and I don't know if you heard this. He said when his father died, he couldn't understand why it was hurting him so much. He said, your father is the only man on this earth that you know in most healthy relationships wants you to be better than him. And that's what we need to do. You have to be honest with yourself as a father. Be honest with yourself as a man. And want your son to be better than you. Not by giving him everything he wants, not by letting him do everything he wants to do, but just like that doctor said, being firm, having discipline, and being loving. And just like Speak Rock said, it's a thankless job. You're not going to get no thanks. You're not going to get a plaque. And on Father's Day, you probably going to get a bunch of stuff you don't want, if you get anything. But it's the job you signed up for. And it's the job that you're going to be held accountable. I told my nephew, he's having issues with his son's mother and child. I said, all this stuff you talking, if this boy ends up in front of a judge or getting suspended at school, what are they going to say? Where are you? So that was this episode of the Raising Carter podcast. I am your host, Ramon Weatherall. If you haven't seen Adolescence, you're doing yourself a disservice. You need to watch it. So, but get yourself a box of tissues or something, because you might drop a tear or two. I don't know if you want to watch this with your wife or or somebody, because you might have to step out in the other room. But it's something you really, us men, us fathers, you need to watch this. You need to watch this. Us brothers, just cause it ain't all, we think because it ain't a lot of black. No, you still need to watch this. You still need to watch it. So, got any parting words for him, Speak Rock?
No, man, I'm with you. I double down on that. Watch this show. It will educate you on what to do and what not to do.
Couldn't have said it better. And we are out of here. I know this was a long one, but this is a needed one. This is a needed one. Peace.